Hey everyone, welcome to Fast Forward, the podcast about real conversations, not highlight reels. We explore the people behind the work, how they think, what drives them, and how they grow. Today I am joined by Digit Murphy, founder of the United Women's Sports and a visionary of women's sports as a whole. Digit has spent more than 40 years creating opportunities for women athletes through coaching, entrepreneurship, NIL education, and sports advocacy. Digit, how are you?
What's happening? Jeff, awesome to be here. I mean, when you gave me that phone call, I'm like, gotta help Jeff. Let's go. Let's go with
Let's
the fast
go.
forward. It's all about going forward fast.
That's the whole premise of the show.
Let's go.
Not too fast, you gotta keep your bearings on, but, in general, fast is good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's even in sports, you gotta play fast. Speed kills. So
Speed. It's all about speed
you need
in the
speed.
end.
Are you a football fan?
I am. Sadly, my team was defeated yesterday,
I hope they were
but
defeated by my team.
well, you're a
Probably not.
Northeasterner, aren't you?
I am. So you know the team. I root for the evil
Pats?
empire. Yes, that's what people call us now that are outside of Boston.
It
You know
kind
how
of
long
is.
it's taken to have that be our moniker in Boston for one team? I mean, come on, like we were always the losers all those years. So I'm happy to finally be the Yankees to the Red Sox, right?
They
Yeah,
quickly found their way with another quarterback just after Brady, it seems, which is,
crazy. It's great. Well, we'll see. We'll see. You know, I don't think there's anyone that's gonna touch Brady, but we can only hope.
yeah, it's year to year in the NFL. I'm
Mhm.
an Eagles fan, so that was a tough one for me yesterday.
That was
But
tough. I was
our
actually rooting for the Eagles.
coordinator needs to be fired, so I was kind of silently wishing we would lose, so he'll be gone because it was a tough year.
It was a very tough year for the Eagles, but, you had
But
your
we just
time,
had the
right?
best year.
Couple of Super Bowls? 1? Did you have 1 or 2? I can't remember. 2,
We
right?
have 2 now in the past
Yeah,
8 years. Yeah, it's
yeah,
been a good
there we
run.
go. Yeah, and you know what's interesting about the Phillies, for the Eagles is
Mhm.
that they boo their coach all the time,
I
and I'm
know.
like, "What are they doing?" Because he's a really good coach, and I'm like, "I don't know,
Sirianni.
like, and I'm like, "He just must have these, like, oh, well, it's just them, because you can't take it to heart."
Yeah, at times, I appreciate it because a lot of times, like, they hold their teams accountable, right? There's gonna be something has to be done usually or because the fans won't stand for it. But there are times when, they take it
Yeah.
way too far, of
I
course.
know. They're like, okay. Anyways, I know that we weren't here to talk about football, but we might
I
as well
talk
give
about
our
sports all day.
opinions on it. Let's go.
Yeah, so we spoke previously and we talked about how you were a baseball player when you were younger, and around 9 or 10, you said that you were denied the opportunity to play baseball, and that moment kind of shifted how you approached things and kind of, I don't know, was like the turning point in your life in some way.
Yeah, I think it was. You have to really understand my whole kind of journey to see where the little league uniform fit into it. But I'm a boomer, right? I've been playing sports since it wasn't fashionable for girls and women, and this was back in the '60s. I grew up, so you're talking a long time ago, like 69, 70, 71, when girls it wasn't even you couldn't even like use a baseball and a baseball bat. I mean, there were few and far between us, and I didn't even know that there was gender. I didn't even know gender existed. I don't
Right.
think until that point in time. I of course I did because you had to wear a dress to school, which was crazy, like, girls were forced to wear dresses, so I knew I was a girl, but it was this place of escape for me on the sandlots. I grew up in Cranston, Rhode Island, which, is an iconic place for hockey. We can do that later. And I just played in the sandlot. I love the Red Sox and the Yankees and that whole rivalry between, that the Red Sox and the Yankees because
Yeah, it's
my
huge.
grandfather and my uncle, they were back and forth, like, on the TV, and I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna be the Red Sox fan," because my dad and my grandfather were the Yankees fans, and my uncle was left out in the cold, so I'm like, "I'm gonna be a Red Sox fan with my uncle so we can even up the score." So, of course, I picked the wrong team because we always lost, but we did win a couple of games. Anyways, so I would
Curse.
always find this great place of safety in at the baseball diamond and the sandlots. I was the captain of the team. I was making the rules, I was picking the teams. And then I was so good. I was hitting it out of the park when I was like 9, 10 years old. Cause women, girls probably what do they call it? They develop a little more quickly,
Oh, it's
stronger. And I
true.
was a jock. I was a total jock. I played everything. flag football. We not flag,
That's
like touch
awesome.
football back then. Everything, hockey, street hockey. Anyways, so I go up to sign up for Little League and they're like, "Nope, you can't play." I'm like, "Wait, what? What do you mean I can't play?" Like in my head, like I'm like, I was devastated and they're like, "No, you're a girl. You can't play, but you can keep score." I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" And I think the first thing that ran across my mind, which is really interesting now that, I look back on it, was how can you not want me because I am so good and I'm going to add so much value.
Right.
I mean, and of course, when you're 9 years old, you're not thinking adding value to the team, but I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah.
You need to, why don't you want me? So, I really think it did change the way I thought about things. I'm like, this is not fair. And I had to wait 3 years to wear the t-shirt and the baseball hat and play softball, which I didn't want to play because girls didn't play baseball, and that's it.
Mm.
And it was tragic, but also a catalyst for change because I continue to champion change. It's been kind of my moniker the whole time that I've been in sports, and now finally, women's sports is having its moment, and I am still impacting it in different ways. But thanks for having me on the show, Jeff. I know it was a long answer to a short question, but
No,
it's Did you
it's
Murphy?
a in-depth answer because you have to walk back through it in order to kind of figure out what it was exactly that made it the catalyst and how you didn't let it diffuse your passion to be involved in sports. And you had to wait 3 years. I didn't know that part until you
Yeah,
were able to play the sport at all again in a competitive way. And it wasn't even the same sport.
I know. Crazy.
Totally different.
We did but the thing that was really cool about sports, and I tell these stories all the time about why they're so important in life, is that yes, I waited 3 years, but I had some incredible coaches because I was so good at the time in girls. I was good in boys, so girls,
Yeah,
I was really
that's
good, right?
goes without saying.
And yeah, and it was great because I had great coaches and I got to play on all-star teams. And the one thing about Rhode Island is it's the smallest state. If you're good in your state, you are picked for national things, right? So our team in our little group, I was telling you in Cranston, it was called Edgewood. It's a little neighborhood I played in. And I
Right.
don't know if you look up Cranston, like we have like little league teams. For some reason, we have like had I guess the World Series champs a while back, Cranston, Rhode Island. And
Nice, I didn't know that.
yeah, yeah. So I don't know, something about Rhode Island, but and baseball. And we got to go to the first ever national tournament because we were the state champions. So I
So
get to
cool.
fly in a plane because of sports, right? It's the first time I ever rode in a plane. I get to learn about fundraising, stand outside with your little can. People would put like
Yeah.
quarters in it back at the time. And it was just a life lesson and ability to a journey. It was a journey when you played sports back then, and even now, but not as much now. It's a journey. It was a little less of a business back then, more
Mhm.
educational, more learning. You had a lot of really caring people back then. Not that they are not now, but there's a whole monetary component that I think changes people. But yeah, I had a good life, even though it wasn't fair. We still persevered.
Right. And so that take us to today. How do you utilize that experience into what you do with all of your business ventures? Or maybe one specifically, how do you
That's quite a jump from, like, 1972 to today, but let me just quickly kinda step you through, and I think it will continue to kind of let people
gotta know the
understand
whole digit
where the
story, you're
passion
right.
goes. So, basically, went to Cornell, graduated from there because I had a hockey opportunity. Because 'cause we're talking all baseball. Believe it or not, though, Jeff, I will fun fact is that I did play on one of the I think it was the first. I think one of my classmates who was a guy, he coached us, the Cornell softball team, fun fact, but I was recruited at Cornell to play ice hockey, and, myself and 3 others, I think 3 other kids were part of the first recruited class for Cornell hockey, which they're now a powerhouse, which is kinda cool. But, after graduating from Cornell, I had no aspirations of going into sports, went into the business world. I have a business degree. And about 3.5 years into the business world, I was like, "Oh, this is so boring. I hate it." I was engaged to be married at the time. I wanted to get married, have kids, and be a gym teacher. Literally, that's like what I wanted to do. How
Wow.
crazy is that? This was back in like the mid to late '80s, and at the time, I was going to school, and I found out that there was an assistant job opening for the hockey team at Brown. And needless to say, I became the assistant coach, the head coach in 1989, and I was at Brown from 1987 to 2011 coaching the women's ice hockey team,
I
bringing
didn't
it
know it was that
from
long.
and bringing it from worst to first, being change throughout the whole NCAA process that I was there. I think I was telling you when I first got to Brown, there were 11 teams in Division 1. When I left Brown in 2011, they're upwards of 38, almost 40, and I think a lot of
Wow, that's a
that
big
was
difference.
what we lived. I mean, that is a huge difference, and we didn't even have a national championship. We grew the sport to NCAA status back then, and it was a wild ride. It didn't come without, its battles, 1990s and the early to mid-90s, Brown, was involved in a Title IX lawsuit. Brown versus the athletes. You know what side I was on. I was on the
Mhm.
athlete side. That became a big part of my mission and driver for change. Title IX, making sure women had opportunities. Gee, I wonder why. Didn't get to wear the jersey, Little League jersey back then. Had to fight
Yeah,
for the women now. Back
exactly.
at Brown. Yeah. So from there, I then went on to be, I left in 2011 after I don't know, we had so many Olympians through our program, like 9, 10, 11 Olympians. We won a bunch of championships. We almost won the national championship in 2002. That was the one that got away. But hey, what are you going to do? We were there. And then I went into the pro space and coached a team called the Boston Blades. It was one of the first professional hockey teams in the United States that wasn't in Canada because there were pro hockey teams in Canada. And we had one of the first franchises that we won a couple championships there. Did some work in the lacrosse space after I left there, believe it or not. Took the business model of hockey, put it on top of lacrosse. My partner and I started the United Women's Lacrosse League, which hence United Women's Sports comes from. We'll get to that.
Mm.
And then I ended up leaving lacrosse and going to coach an international team in China. I was the head coach there for a couple of years, actually 3 years. And we were in 2017. And what we did was we set up the Chinese national team for success in the 2022 Olympics. We built out the model.
Wow, that's an interesting experience.
And then after that, I went back to hockey in the United States and North America and was the president and coach of the Toronto Six. Then I left there, went to Metropolitan Riveters, and then I left in 2023. And now building out a model for some hockey products, which are secret. I'll tell you later. You'll see them someday. We'll come back on the show. But I am
To be
part of a
continued.
company called Slice Sports as a consultant, and it's really cool because I think this is a game changer. There's a woman, her name is Trisha Vanderslice. She's the principal at Slice Sports, and I work with her to raise capital, to source deals for women's sports properties, to make sure that women continue to be in the conversation. Whether it's because, Jeff, the thing that people don't understand with women's sports is you can't just you can't shrink it and pink it. You know what I mean? That's what people want to do with women's sports. And what we talk about is growing women's sports thoughtfully with the right resources, making sure the athletes are looked after and taken care of, making sure they're valued, making sure their stories are told, driving revenue through media rights deals, like all the things that men have enjoyed for years and years. We are trying to make sure that the properties that we are engaged with have what women's sports have now and put them even at a higher elevation of exposure, value, and making sure they're in a safe space. All those things are part of what we do at Slice Sports. And again, United Women's Sports, hockey product, can't tell you yet. If I told you, I have to kill you.
Right.
That's what I'm doing.
There are
Just a couple
things
things.
happening behind the scenes.
Well, yeah, because yeah, they are. They're behind the scenes. Let's just put it that way because I
I'll
I
take
have a
your
big
word
mouth.
for
I'll
it.
just like tell everyone. Yeah.
So, okay, so when you say shrink it and pink it, meaning like we look at it the wrong way in general, like we try to basically copy and paste what men do and make it more female driven, or what are you saying? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, that's what I mean by that. So if you shrink it and pink it, it's like, oh, you just take a men's hockey game and put some pink jerseys on them and
Right.
skate them around, and it's going to be the exact same, right? You're going to drive the same number of people there. You're going to have the same meter rights deal. No, 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 no. There's a whole step that we have missed in the process. And when I say that, I mean, you're not going to be able to grow audience that men have enjoyed for 125 years in the last 30 years. It just doesn't happen that way. It
No.
takes time. Audiences have to be curated. There needs to be a foundation. They need to care. And we think that if we just throw money at it and do it the same way that men do it, that it's automatically going to happen. So there's a few things that I'm working on right now. If you look at some of my LinkedIn posts, like I'm working with Click. Click is a company, it's an AI company. Part of the things that I think need to happen is we need to grow audience for women and use AI to help that audience growth. For
Mm.
example, every single woman athlete is a content creator, every single one. And if you now can tell their stories, even just in an Instagram reel, and you can tell them the right way using AI to influence the algorithms, that's what Click does, and then match them to brands that can match the value of their story, who they are, what they're about, with a brand that matches them. And the deal might not be $100 million like the men are getting. It might be $1,000, but it's got to start somewhere. And
Mhm.
the other company so Click is a company that we're working with. Fantastic founder Rohan Guram, just gets it, understands how to build the whole tech space. Double degree from Yale, is a young guy, and we clicked
Nice.
immediately because we want to make things right in the world,
Yeah.
and we speak the same language. So I think
Just have
that when
different
you
strengths,
yeah,
women and men in this category for sure. So creating that um, environment that's unique to the differences in their in whatever you want to look at it, marketing, skill sets, just the sport as a whole. It shouldn't just be a female version of it. It should be a different sport entirely,
it could be a
or
different
just
sport
like framed
entirely,
that way at least.
which is really interesting. Now I'm sure you're not a hockey guy, right?
No, no, I am. I'm a sports guy. I mean, I didn't play hockey because I'm from Texas, but I love sports and I love hockey.
So I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
The PWHL, the Pro Women's Hockey League, is a brand new league. It was founded pretty, I don't know, like we started women's hockey back in, I've been talking about it for all these years, but professional women's hockey has been in existence since the late 90s, early 2000s. And finally, in 2024, Mark Walter got involved and gave $100 million to Kendall Coyne, Hillary Knight, and Jana Hefford, who were some players who had a vision. Billie Jean King got involved and they gave them $100 million. Now, I want to talk about the differences in the game. The game has always been different because there's no checking in women's hockey, contact, but not checking. And you got to understand something about me. I have the all-time leading penalty minutes at Cornell University. So you
You
are
do.
not talking about someone that does not play hockey rough. However, I'm going to say a couple of things that might shock the audience. I don't believe that women's hockey should check. And I have been very vociferous about this because I don't think men's hockey should check. And that's
Mm,
going to be like, oh my God, right? I don't think they should check. I don't think they should fight. These are the things that have been ingrained into the culture for a long time.
long time.
But I think that you can play hockey without actually full ice checking and fighting because I believe that with the sticks being, how all the technology around the equipment
Yeah.
makes it more dangerous. And what I don't want to see is injuries. And I want to see the star players always being able to play. Because the beauty of a sports entertainment product, Jeff, is that you want to see goals scored, you want to see great plays. And if you now start to check and clutch and grab,
They're all
okay,
out.
and the officials can't call everything, you're slowing down this magical speed. We talked about earlier, speed kills, playing. And so anyway, so now the PWHL had a non-checking game. Guess what they did? They put checking into it. So
They
to
added it,
me, yeah, they added it because they want it to be more
trying
like
to
the men's
mimic.
game. And I'm saying, be who you are.
Yeah.
Stand on your own 2 feet. Be different and lean into that as a strength, not a weakness, because you want to see the goals. And as it is already, we don't shoot as hard. We shoot hard. Like when you go out and you watch women's hockey, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe that's women. But when it comes down to the nuances, we don't shoot as hard as men because we're not men. Why take out the why why not, like, clutching and grabbing and stuff just slows them down. You
Yeah.
already have it handicapped, right? You can't shoot as hard. So don't take goals away in another way. So anyways, that's a little example about why you should be yourself, lean into it as women.
Right. And with hockey specifically, you can lean into the finesse, the skill, the delicateness of passing and managing the puck is enough to marvel at as a fan. You don't need to see the rest of it.
And don't get me wrong, like it can still be physical. I just think what happens is when you put that we have a check into the game, it makes the refs like go, okay, I'm not going to call that. I think you have to call more
That's
penalties
true.
in games because then you have a odd person down, so you score more goals. So I always believe the more scoring, the better. So I err on the side of the scoring. So how do you think
Entertainment.
about a business model that encourages more scoring? Because that's what fans are going to watch because it is about the fans.
It is, and if you're really trying to mimic the men's league, then you risk the everyday fan looking at this alternative to the sport they already watch, not intensely, but they still watch what the NHL or something like that. And then now you're showing me a version that's essentially the same, but just not quite as high of a level. And then at
Mhm.
that point, you're looking at it like, well, why do I even watch this? Because if that's how it's framed, you're battling yourself. Basically, is what I'm trying to
100%.
say.
100%.
Be unique.
100%.
So I appreciate how you approach that, and I assume that their progress is there, it just needs to be adopted.
Yeah, it's I guess when you think about I guess just what I think. I think not a lot of people think about what we're talking about right now, which is why
Mhm.
we have to continue to talk about it because they'll be like, "Oh my god, I never thought of that." I'm like, "Right? Right?" And the only reason that I think about this is because I've been doing it my whole life. So, it's not that hard when you're entrepreneurial in mindset and spirit, when you have I kind of have that like Big Bang theory. I've got like all these things that are converging at once so that now I can think through and step through some of the problems and solve. And I think one of the issues that we talk about a lot is not being let in the door, right? So I think you're right now what's happening in the world is that they're like, "Oh my god, women's sports. Yes, we want this person. You played sports? You're a woman? Oh yeah, come. Come in." And the people who are executing women's sports have never really been in women's sports. They
Mhm.
might have played in college, they might have played in high school, but they've never been behind the business of women's sports. And they've also and the reason why I think I'm uniquely positioned in a lot of these spaces
Mhm.
is because I was kidding you earlier off camera. I'm like, I'm the founder of this, I'm the founder of that, I'm the founder of this, because someone's got to find it. You're finding how to monetize women's sports. You're finding how to build new models because it's necessary in order to gain the traction and get it to go faster so that we can catch up to men's sports.
Yeah, it's an all-encompassing position that you're in. Requires you to utilize all your skill sets and constantly stay on top of what's out there and continue to entrust the people that you know, and then you're building an empire to try to get in the door so people they're like, "Oh, they take you seriously." They're like, "This is what needs to happen."
It's funny because, everyone thinks that women's sports has arrived. You're wearing the t-shirts. Everyone watches women's sports. I believe that now people are finally caring about women's sports. Okay. The true, the true test of it is though, is it sustainable? Will people watch women's sports consistently like they do men's sports? And I think we've proved it in certain markets, right? The Caitlin Clarks of the world have really driven it
Sure.
in Indiana with the Fever
Yeah.
because that one player just does such a great job as that ambassador and that
Right.
it's like for her, it's the perfect storm. She's an unbelievable player. She's like the Tom Brady. I hate to say it, to always compare it to the men, but she's like the Tom Brady of the WNBA. She's a model citizen. She's always doing the right thing. She's humble,
She's
right?
super humble.
And everyone needs to have every sport in every market needs to have a Caitlin Clark in order to jumpstart that
Kind of,
conversation.
yeah.
And it comes with community and it comes with people caring. And if you have people caring in community, then they'll pay money to come watch. And that's what I talk about sustainability. Can we do that game after game after game after game and not have companies come in and overvalue women's sports products because there's quite a few teams that are playing in front of empty stadiums, right? And how long is it going to take for us to grow that audience is how long we're going to have to continue to say, is it sustainable?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a big moment for women's sports now because they have made progress, but it's about sustaining that progress and then continuing its growth because, again, most people view it as just an extension of the men's version, and it's not quite the same. So, like, I just need differentiation is so important, and that's why I really like what you're trying to do.
And I think you don't want to undervalue the fact that people are investing now. They never used to invest. There's a couple of reasons I think about that. Is number one, the market of getting into men's sports is completely closed up from certain levels of investment, right? There's no, like right now, you could
Can't buy
call
it.
up Slice Sports and say, I got 5 million. I want to invest in a women's, some women's anything. Okay. You could not even touch anything for 5 million on the men's side, right? So there's a huge, or you, a brand. Like, here's the other thing, brands, this is the opportunity for brands to get into women's sports with the
Interesting.
NIL, because again, I have the NIL agency. This is how I kind of understand it all. A brand value, they can get in and have these unbelievable ambassadors for not that much money, right? And the brands aren't realizing this. They're just thinking with the male mentality
Right.
that, oh my God, I can't get a woman athlete for, 10 grand. That's way too low. Yet there are some great women athletes who are not the stars of the show, but they're really good players that you don't know about, that you could come in and those brands could get quality money and get great value. I think a part of what I'm trying to do also is to educate the market on how people who never thought historically they could get in can now get into the market.
Yeah, it's because it's still budding, you have the opportunity to get in, unlike in men's sports where it's been around forever and
Yeah.
the price value is exponential pretty much.
I mean, think about it. Look at the Super Bowl's commercials. They're crazy. They're out of control,
Absurd.
right? It's like you could literally fund probably a whole athletic department for $250,000 in women's sports. So if you got any listeners out there and they want to do that, they should call me because I know a lot
I
of people who
mean,
would take your money.
yeah, it will be money well spent for sure. Like,
I know it's crazy.
the growth is going to happen, it's just about at what rate.
And these women, like, I think what once you get to know the women behind the jerseys or the masks on the hockey rink, you'd be shocked at some of their resumes. Like, masters from Northwestern,
Yeah,
masters from Wisconsin, biomedical engineer.
hyper
I had two
intelligent.
investment bankers playing for me when I was with the Toronto Six. I had a sales executive. Like, these women are ridiculous. Like, you would want them to be your daughter's mentors, right? Like, you would want them. I mean, I don't know. I can't even. Like, it's just
It's a
incredible.
good
And
point.
then you have the men's side, and I'm not trying to be mean to men, but we've got guys assault, they're like things are happening on the men's
Right.
side of, whatever, football, basketball, baseball, and you name it. Not saying there's not a lot of there's
No,
bad
no,
things on the
no.
women's side, but there's a lot more bad behavior happening. Meanwhile,
Sure.
you've got like Ivy League grads on the women's side that are making like $30,000 a year as a professional athlete.
Right.
I mean, the disparity is just ridiculous. That's
Yeah,
why I'm
they're
constantly trying to champion the change.
they're far better ambassadors in a
Ah,
lot of instances.
not
That's
even
really
close.
interesting because they have to plan for their life
Exactly.
outside of basketball or whatever sport they might be playing.
And, the men have to too. It's just they don't, right? I mean, think about all the guys, the poor guys that get taken advantage of. They might have been
Yeah.
like someone that only made only 10 million, right? But that's got to sustain their whole life
Right.
after football or whatever, basketball. And then some agent or some bad dude or someone in their family or bad woman like takes the money from them. So, I feel for the men too. And, it's athletes should be represented fairly all around the board. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. A different set of challenges for the men, that's for sure.
Hmm. I know.
So earlier you brought up, was it Click?
Yeah.
AI?
Click. My click AI. Yep.
Nice.
CLIQK.
Ah, okay, I wouldn't have guessed that.
I know.
I wanted to ask, what other, um, tools or use cases have you had for AI, and how has it shifted your role or if at all?
Well, I think part of the AI, well, first of all, I love ChatGPT. I just think it's like a really cool thing to use to bounce ideas off of, right? And I know that it's funny because my partner, Rhonda, she's an IT person. She's like, ChatGPT, it's She uses some word about it because, she's in the business. It's just, just the internet and it's learning and all this. And I'm like, but I like it. It's so cool. It gives me like ideas, right?
Custom
Yeah.
feedback. Yeah.
Yeah. And but the great thing, Jeff, about me is that there's only one digit Murphy in the world. I
That's
just say
it.
it and everything I said is on the internet. But anyways, I think that, I think you can get a lot more done as an entrepreneur using, AI. And I am a serial entrepreneur. There's just a lot more efficiency, I think, and I think it offers like so for example, AI and Click, they have a content coach in your pocket with Click. This is what they do. Okay, they have two sides of Click. They have the content side and they have the brand side. And what they're doing is using AI on the content creator side by having you send a text to a number and you say what you're going to text and it tells you when to post it, how to say it, how you should say it. It gives you suggestions.
Interesting.
It tells you the times you post so that the algorithm can then look at it and you'll get more likes, you'll get more follows, you'll get more engagement. It tells you to engage with the audience. So anyone that's a United Women's Sports NIL agency athlete, and we've got about a good amount of players that we represent that use it. But the challenge, is that I'll tell you right now, if I wanted to have 2,500, 5,000 athletes in the ecosystem, you can. The challenge is how do you get them deals as an agency?
Right.
Because, and this is why it came to this conclusion that we need to use AI. Because if you're an athlete that only has 1,500 followers, it's not enough of an audience to generate a brand deal. Okay. So now if your athletes have your content coach in their pocket on their iPhone or their Android, wherever they're using, they say, post this to this platform. It even tells you the platform. And now they go from 1,500 to 15,000. Now I can get them a brand deal. So that's what Click does. And they also have the brands on the other side that they're going, hey, if you invest $5,000 into this audience, you're going to get this much value. So the thing that I love about the Click platform is it has content creators on one side, brands on the other. They marry the two. And then once you get one deal, you can get two, you can get three, you can get four, more
Right.
athletes can get it. So you're building a community of women athletes. And for Click, they not only do it for athletes, they do it for tech startups, they do it for musicians, they do it for artists. So they have different verticals that they're working on now. And I think it's a marvelous way to grow and scale audience for the little guy, right? And that's what I love about Rohan. He's about the democratization of the tech and of the people and helping more people get access to more opportunity. And that's why I clicked with him right away. So I'm a big fan of the Click.
Clicked with Click.
I clicked with Click, baby. We could do it. Let's do it. Let's do a commercial. I clicked with Click.
That was really cool. I think that's like you kind of started with saying women are really good for content creation, especially because they tend to draw a bigger audience than men because it's more, I don't know, it's more unique. It's more like interesting than just seeing another guy playing a sport again. So I think it's really important to utilize that in a way that makes them to differentiate themselves from men's sports.
Yeah, it really is cool. And I think it was funny when I was with the Toronto Six up in Canada. Like you just have these little unique kind of ways that the sponsors even can engage. Like we had Champion Pet as as a sponsor. The dogs. Like, and then we did something with the women and the dogs and their pets. Like,
That's
it's
awesome.
just it's women. Like, and that was the things that we thought about,
Yeah.
right? And there's so many things that people are not thinking about because they don't have a women on the other side of the table
Yeah.
looking back at
That's
them and they're
huge.
also not listening. You might have the woman there, but they ain't listening to her. And you've seen all the studies that say companies that have more women and men working together do better. And the mindset of continuing to close the door, everyone says it's changing and I say, yeah, but it could change more, right?
For sure.
I love being on your podcast. You have a nice podcast here, Jeff. It's fun.
Thank you.
A lot of fun. A lot of fun.
I just try to keep it as, human as possible, just get away from the scripted stuff and just, talk talk, uh, talk about things that are interesting.
Well, hopefully I've been interesting for you.
Definitely. Did you have any ways that you want the audience to find you or anything any best way to get the newest information about what's going on in the women's sports.
Well, like I already told you, there's only one Digit Murphy in the world right
That's for
now.
sure.
So it's at Digit Murphy everywhere. Instagram, LinkedIn. I do a lot of posting on LinkedIn. I feel like those are my people. I mean, Instagram, I do. We just did actually a collaboration with Women's Hockey Life. Shout out to Women's Hockey Life and their founder, Jackie Hawkins. We haven't announced it yet, but I'll just announce it here. Jackie Hawkins has been working in the space for a long time. She's a UConn grad. She has a great business called Women's Hockey Life. And I really think that the Digit Murphy brand, a Women's Hockey Life brand, if we collab, is going to really take the conversation to another level because there's two women working to grow audience and expose more women to opportunity. But yeah, so Digit Murphy everywhere, everywhere. Digit Murphy. And, and Slice Sports, look up slicesports.co. Tricia Vanderslice is really doing great things in raising the private equity space and raising capital, and her unique approach is very woman friendly. So shout out to Trisha and United Women's Sports NIL agency. If you want to be an NIL athlete, call me and
Yeah,
I'll definitely help you out.
that's awesome. Well, it's been a pleasure getting to know you and learning more about your story and the businesses that you're involved in and the continued growth that's happening. I think it's really cool what you're doing, and I yeah, there's a lot more to go. I think you're not done with this yet.
I ain't done yet. Everyone's like, when are you going to retire? I'm like, when I'm dead. So much work to do. So much work to do. And I'll leave it at that. Hopefully I won't die soon. It's not a morbid thing.
But you
Jeff,
love it. That's your
I
point.
love it. I
Yeah,
mean, I do what I love. I don't work. Not a day I work. What do they
that's not
say? If you
really
do what you love,
working.
you're never working. Jeff, it's been a
100%.
pleasure to be on your show. I wish you a lot of luck with the
Thanks. I
podcast.
appreciate it.
I'll come back anytime.
Maybe I'll use Click for podcasters.
Please.
Maybe it's good for that too.
I think it is. I think it's good for everyone. Get with Click.
All right. Thanks, Digit. Have a good one and take care.
My pleasure, Jeff.
Bye. Boop. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed it, be sure to subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts, or really anywhere you get your podcasts. And maybe you can share it with someone you know that is either interested in business, interested in founder stories, kind of hearing the behind the scenes of why people do the things that they do, and just in general, good conversation. So be sure to subscribe and follow us everywhere.